This is the Things You Can't Take Back song breakdown. The song starts off very clean guitars, slowly layering on top of each other, mostly panned left and right. Hannah comes in with a super clean bass. The drums, very straightforward as well, similar to how we did Pavement Age. These drums were actually recorded by Fabian in between recording the drums for another song when this was just in its earlier stages. They just sounded so good we decided to keep the test drums we did. Same as Pavement Age, we're using Shure mics, SM57s, and the Beta 52A with Apex 460s as overheads and one in the center. There's lots of space in the first verse with the melody being the focus. Let's listen to it.
So polite, wonder where you'll sleep tonight. Covering, holding tight. Is there something that you'd like?
Each verse we have Hannah's vocals come in the ending.
Sitting on handlebars as we terrify the cars.
I didn't go too far into this in the last song breakdown, but how we treat the vocals is we're sending the raw waveform through a bus and then automating the compression. This automation we're seeing here is not the volume so much as what is being sent into the compressor. Being able to push the compression brings out a lot of little details in the voice and contributes to its up close and intimate feeling.
Something that you like, sitting on handlebars as we terrify the cars.
Leading into the first chorus, we have Paul's guitar playing a higher octave. Little things just making accents like that, plus a little feedback. So we go from the guitars layering, clean, Paul's guitar comes in doing the higher octave, the smashing, the feedback, and then we all hit the bass overdrive pedal. Now I have Hannah's gnarly bass, and that's accompanied by my guitar layered twice with the bass overdrive pedal, and Ibanez SD9. In the early stages of the song, I had the chord progression, and I was trying to come up with some kind of lead hook. Nothing I was playing sounded original or natural. It sounded like I was trying to come up with things. So I applied an auto-tuning filter to the track that I was recording with, so the notes I was hitting would no longer correspond to the frets that I was playing. When it came time to record the final version of the song, we'd been playing this live, so Paul had a way of playing it that was based off of the auto-tuned demo. Now we're recording the final piece and it sounds good, but there's still something missing about the tone. Something going on in the auto-tune filter is adding the slightest bend and digital artifacts as the notes are resonating, and it's fighting with the filter for control over what note gets played. So I threw the idea to Paul, like, what if you learned how to play the incorrect version of the lead before it had any auto-tune filter applied to it? So we loop the chorus. He's learning it by ear as he's finding the right, wrong notes to play. Very confusing. And now, this is it with the filter. In the final version, the lead is Paul playing what he learned from the affected version, plus his filtered version, plus my original filtered version.
Unkind, my shattering eyes don't speak.
One backup.
So closely next time can.
Plus Hannah's harmony.
Whatever you'd like, unforgiven, dear other.
Another hidden thing pushing the song forward is this sample of a dog barking from an old keyboard at the first hit and the last hit of every chorus. So that's it with effects on it. This is the raw sound. So this dog sample kind of gets fused with these guitar hits. There are no rules. This is a pretty part of the song. We were very excited about this because we got strings on a song finally. It almost didn't happen. We had different versions of the song with synth strings put in place as an option. It was extremely close to the deadline of when we had to have the song mastered. So Paul was friends with someone who played the cello, and it turned out that he had his own studio so he could record it remotely. This is where I almost f***ed up everything, because in the synth version that I exported as the guide track, something f***ed up in the export, so all of the synth strings were put at different times in the song. They were all shifted around. I didn't know it until I got the pieces back from Mike, but he was such a pro at it that he nailed every part. So all I had to do was shift it back in place to where the synth was, and it was as if it was played perfectly in with the song. So thank God for Mike Tompa. Another last minute addition to the song. Just before we added the strings, we had this space in the middle of the second verse that live I had just been hitting a pedal and letting it feed back and bend the notes around. Very noisy, very chaotic. Great for doing it live, but doing it in the studio, I wanted to try and take it a different direction. So I think what we ended up with is like the digital version of the strings. Same vibe, but it sounds like a choir on a dying battery. These are all the layers going on in this noise section. The Arpanoid Earthquaker Devices pedal. We've got a mixture of feedback and stretching out the notes. Here, took the same feedback and automated it so that the first note that's being played dies out, and then you're hearing just the reverb of the same note busts to a different track and pitched to a different note. And then that is automated in as the original note is automated out, as if it's an instrument being played going up and down. Felt like it was missing something as it died out. It didn't go long enough, and it was like all of a sudden the texture was gone. So I asked Paul to remotely record some stuff and just send it to me, whatever he had, and it ended up fitting perfectly. As the noises die out, it's really like it's just adding a texture to the sound. You almost can't even hear it, but it stops it from being smooth and now gives it some sort of fuzz. And finally, there's this voice. And now these are all those sounds together. What a mess! And this is it in the context of the song. Then Hannah joins my vocals for the end of the second verse.
Not yet. I found something to protect. Tell the truth, don't say that. Wish we'd never even met. Promises, fill the cracks. Don't say things you can't take back.
And now the bridge. We got guitars being pitched up and pitched down, just barely hanging on beat. This one kind of sounds like a steel pan drum or something. This guitar part, which is like pretty much out of time and almost out of tune, but every time I took it out, it sounded like it was missing. So fucking stupid and so good. So I have those guitars plus Paul's guitar. I remember when Paul recorded this, I was saying closer to being out of time, the better. So go for it out of time. and then we'll slowly reel it back in. Into the final chorus. Because all the drums from the song were from tests we did in between recording other songs, Fabian played a different drum beat each section of the song. So the very end, I've chopped up bits of drums from other choruses and put them together to make the gnarlier final chorus. Everything gets a little bit off the rails. The outro of the song, I started stretching out notes of Paul's guitar as it was fading out when he stopped playing from the chorus, as the feedback started stretching the feedback in different parts so that we'd get all these digital artifacts. And then it comes together nicely with Mike's strings again, fading us out. Mix of the sweet and sour, baby. Thanks for watching. Here is Things You Can't Take Back.